Hi, this is Critical Thinking with Tanner Davis, and we're just going to go over some of the different things that I put together for critical thinking. I put it in a more, I guess, a simpler way for just more than teachers to understand, and from a different standpoint of that too. Uh, First thing we look at is what is critical thinking? The objective of analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment, and also ability to think clearly and rational. Steps in critical thinking, and to me, I tried to relate this to the scientific method. Also, I think it's a lot like that, and it relates to math and science teachers a lot. The first steps that I have, number one was questioning, number two is informing, three is testing, four assessing, and then five is simply being honest. The first one we talked about is questioning. Begin with asking who, what, when, where, and why. These, you got to find out right off the bat what you see, how it happened, where, everything like that. And when it comes to the students and we're working in the classroom, you want to try to answer a question with a question to make them think more in depth, not just giving up and giving them the answers right off the bat. We want to try to make them think and move on and see what they can do. Next is step two. It's informing, which this is the research part of it, searching for resources and seeing how others have dealt with the problem. Also ask what has happened. Um, Number three is testing. That's simply diagnosing the problem. A good example that I used was, say in basketball, your shot's off. We're trying to figure out what's wrong with it by watching and seeing and paying attention to what we've done in the past and to see where we can get and how to fix that problem. Next is assessing. Stop and think how you came to the conclusion. Did it work what you tried? What else do you think you can try? And so forth from there. And then five is simply honesty. Realizing the truth and seeing if you need more help or more, try to find somebody that's more of a professional at it and see if they can make you understand it better to move on from that standpoint. Um, After that, I just put a simple, more in-depth list that we can look at. That kind of goes further in, and the first thing is analyzing, and then conceptualizing, defining, examining, inferring, listening, reasoning, and synthesizing. Thinking critically can better your ability to determine multiple things, and I think that's figuring out what you can do in different situations and so forth from that. To me, a lot of the times kids tend to just memorize things, and when you memorize, it's simply it's giving you the ability to do one thing, rather where critical thinking's letting you move on, and you can do multiple things from that. It's the old saying of you give a man a fish, he eats for a day, and if you teach a man to fish, he never goes hungry. Uh, when it comes down to the conclusion with the students, you simply want to be there to help students, but at the same time make them think more deeply. It goes as simple as ask questions, simply listening what they're talking about, being able to debate over the subject, see what each person has in mind, and see the differences between those groups. Think aloud. Don't just sit there and think to yourself. Make sure everybody can hear and talk out loud, and that way you can go ahead and discuss what you're feeling or thinking. Use groups. That way you have more than just one mind in there thinking over things. And then simply the last one's provide feedback. That's the biggest thing from the student standpoint is hearing what you think, what they could do different, and just keeping them on their toes to really think over things. So for me, that's just some simple things that I looked over for critical thinking. And like I said, I wanted to connect with the science and the math too. So try to connect it in there with the scientific method. And when you go down and look at it, they're a lot alike, and just some different aspects in the testing part of it. You're actually going to test in the scientific method, whereas here we're gonna try to look at the problem, figure it out, and move on from there. So that's what I've got for critical thinking. Thanks again, and have a nice night.